I was drifting off when I saw it. Two pinpricks of light separated by darkness, gliding through the dense foliage alongside the road. They moved with an unnatural smoothness, as if whatever they belonged to was floating rather than running. The realization jolted me awake. They were eyes. "What is it?" my mother asked, noticing my sudden alertness. Her knuckles were white on the steering wheel, her gaze fixed on the winding road ahead. "There is something in the bushes," I replied, turning to face her. "What?" she replied, her eyes still focused on the road ahead. I turned to look at it again, but the lights had vanished. Whatever owned those glowing eyes was gone. "I don't know. It's gone," I said, while trying to understand what I had seen and scanning the bushes to be certain it no longer followed us. We were on a road trip outside of town, just she and I, an idea she had as a getaway after Dad's death 2 weeks ago. I was 9 and was having a hard time processing it. Fear and uncertainty about how life was going to be without him were my constant companions. My mom did her best that she could to uplift my spirit, but it didn't help. I stopped attending classes and lashed out at my classmates and even disrespected a teacher publicly. As punishment for my outbursts, I was given a 1-week suspension from school. "Mom, I'm sorry," I said, thinking about how disappointed my actions must have got her. "For what, dear?" she replied with a concerned voice. "For my behavior in school," I said with tears running down my cheek. Taking a deep breath, she pulled over at the side of the road and turned to face me. There was a smile on her face, and she took me into her arms and wiped my tears with her hands. "I know you are sorry, and I know you didn't mean to misbehave, and for that reason, I am not mad at you," she said and kissed me on the forehead. "You will be fine. Everything is going to be fine. We just need some time." Then she resumed driving. Hours passed, and we momentarily stopped to get some snacks and drinks. I hadn't been out like this for a while, and just as Mother had hoped, it cheered me up. As we began our return trip home, the sun began to set, and soon it was dark. The headlights, the only source of light that illuminated the long and lonely road ahead. A flat tire forced us to stop, and as we walked to change it, the bushes on the side of the road rustled. A soft growl slithered through the air. On looking to the direction the sounds came from, we both saw 2 dots of light between the bushes, 2 glowing eyes surrounded by a dark, vague shape that blended with the darkness of the night, making its outline difficult to see. They didn't blink, and they glided smoothly towards us with terrifying intent. The growls got louder and terrifying. "Get in the car," Mom said with a voice that cracked with fear. But instead of following me, she went for the trunk, emerging with a rifle which she pointed at the thing, poised to fire. The dark shape stopped and rose several feet above the ground, towering above her. She fired several rounds at it, the muzzle flashes briefly illuminating a nightmarish form, all angles and shadows, with 3 limbs ending in razor-sharp claws, 2 front limbs and a single hind limb set in the center. But her shots had no effect on it. It leapt into the air and landed in front of her, swatting the gun out of her hands. I was terrified, but even more terrified of what was going to happen to my mother. I had just lost my father, and now I was about to lose my mother. I got out of the car and ran to grab the gun, but the creature landed between me and the weapon before I could reach it. It leaned its head closer to me, its fetid breath washing over me like a wave of decay. My mother quickly ran and stood between me and the creature, using herself as a shield. The creature then opened its mouth and made a loud sound that sounded like a growl and the voice of a screaming child. As it lifted one of its front limbs, ready to attack, something held it from behind and forcefully pulled it away from us. A human shape with a soft glow lifted it and slammed it onto the ground. The now whimpering creature tried to get up, but the person stood over it with an axe that materialized in his hand, and with the axe, he hacked the creature several times till it was still. Then, without a word, he changed the flat tire with mechanical precision, and after he was done, he turned to face us. It was Dad, the glow from his body illuminating his face that had a smile. My heart leapt with a mixture of shock and joy. "Dad! James!" my mom and I said at the same time. Then he turned to the creature which still lay motionless. He walked towards it and grabbed it by its single foot, then faced us again, and with a voice that echoed, he said, "Drive safely, my darlings." Then he dragged the creature into the bushes and they both disappeared into the darkness.